Hello, thank you for taking the time to watch this video. I really appreciate it. I'm very excited about this course. As far as I know, this might be one of the only courses geared to school-age students. This is a course on Shmuel Aleph. Personally, I use it for sixth grade students, but there's also a high school component, as we'll see over here. We'll get back to that soon. And the most important thing for me right now is I'm looking for feedback. So if you could leave any feedback here at the end, I'd really appreciate it. Let me know, most importantly, how you think this could be improved. Any comments, what you liked, what you didn't like, and so on and so forth. So let me explain to you what we have over here. It looks a little bit intimidating. There's a lot of stuff. Okay, so in my mind, the primary problem with Judaic studies subjects, whether it's Chumash or Navi, the challenge really is the language barrier. The Chumash and the Tanakh, it's written in Hebrew, and if it's not a student's first language, they're really often they could struggle with that. So one of the first things that I do here to help alleviate that is I'll give students a text, the text that we're going to learn. And over here they'll have an audio file where they can hear a translation of the text. Sefer Shmuel, Perek Aleph, begins with the... I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but that'll be a translation. And I find that often students don't necessarily want to hear an audio file. Sometimes they just want to read it. We got different modalities, and therefore I provide this translation. It's broken down linearly, very easy to find a translation, what translates from what. And students really like that. Now, the way I use this is what we call a flipped classroom. In other words, I'm going to give this to students before they come to class. I'll say tonight you should please preview these psukim so that by the time that we get to class tomorrow, you've already seen this. And one of the ways that I help ensure to make sure they've actually seen it is I'll give them review questions or preview questions, whichever way you'd like. And these are quiz questions. And again, since my goal is to encourage them to interact with the text, I don't want them to be afraid of the text. So almost all questions are going to be based on the pasuk, and I'll give them the text of the pasuk right over here. So if you look in the pasuk, you'll find the answer. If you still need help with the pasuk, you're not sure exactly what it means, so I'll give you an audio file here. You can hear me translate the pasuk. If you want the translation sheet, you got that over here. And here we have all different types of questions. This is a question type where there's one possible correct answer. We got questions where there could be more than one correct answer. Like what was the man's, the name of his two wives. So I need two wives here in order to answer that. So those are squares that tell you that there might be more than one answer. We got matching questions. We got drop-down questions, Amar, we could do ordering questions, all different types of questions. And I'll insist that students get a certain mark in order for homework to be done. Now you could do this, again, before students come to class. You could give this to them for homework after they've come to class. And usually there'll be a little notice up over here saying what tonight's homework is, and they can even get an email direct to their email box telling them exactly what the homework is. Now, I find that in sixth grade at least, some students could just take this and run, and they're great with it. Other students are still a little fuzzy as a preview. They still need the teacher in class to explain it to them. Even after there's still room for a teacher, I don't explain everything there is to know. You might want to explain a certain Rashi or a Radak or Medrash or whatever it is. But for the most part, it helps students really get a clear picture. They're not tied to the teacher. If I missed it in class, that's not the end of the world. And we could spend more time in class focused on other things than just necessarily the translation. Okay, so that's one component that we have over here. Another thing that I like to add is to make the learning a little bit more real. So I include, let's say, a page often with like pictures. So, for example, over here it talks about the Plishtim sent back the Aron in with the cows that never carried a yoke. So what's a yoke? So I'll give you a picture of a yoke. Here's an old-fashioned picture from the times of the Egyptians. Here's a YouTube video. We'll show somebody plowing a field with his animals carrying a yoke, and it'll go on over here. So that's just to make it a little bit more real, something that you really can't do in a traditional textbook. Here's another example. Let's say helping students feel part of, let's say, Israel or Eretz Yisrael. So it talks about Mitzvah Shmuel. Where's Mitzvah? So this is the traditional place that's associated with Mitzvah where Shmuel's buried. You got a picture of that. Maybe some historical pictures, how it might have changed over the years. Here's a view from what's considered a mitzvah. Here's another suggestion. I can make a link to another website, which might be another location for mitzvah. And again, you can put in videos, and it's up to the teacher. The teacher could always edit this. They could add their own pictures or videos, like anything else over here. So again, that's just another component to make it a little bit more real. Another thing that the students really enjoy is what we call message boards. Very often for a parak, I'll present a question and they'll have to either answer it or come up with their own question on the parak, something they don't understand, and other students could comment on that. And they really enjoy the interaction. Sometimes they're their own best critic. Why do you use spell check and whatever it is. But it's really fun. They really enjoy it. In class, not always is there time for every student to be heard. And this is a way where they could express themselves, and you don't have to worry about time limits and things like that. Another thing that I'd like to do in order to encourage students to look in the text, usually I'll include here a crossword puzzle. This is a Hebrew crossword puzzle. The words are from right to left. And where do you find the answers? You find the answers in the Navi. But here I'll tell you where in the Navi to find the answer. So Shmuel called the place Even Ezer because until here Hashem what? So look in Perek Zion, Pasuk Yud Bet, and you'll find the answer there. So again, it's another way of encouraging students to look inside and interact with the text. For high school students, I have here usually each parak will have a list of more challenging questions, things that you have to look up, make connections, whatever it is. And I'll have 25, 30 questions on a parak, maybe depending on how big the parak is. And the way I envision this is that students I would divide up the questions amongst different groups of students, and they would have to share their answers on the message board. And this way they would collaborate with other students, and of course they could ask their own questions, and that could be a discussion forum for these questions. So, at this time, those are the basic components that we have over here. You got the audio, you got the translation sheets, you got quiz questions, you got crosswords, you got resources, you got message boards, and so on and so forth. And then here on top, we have different links to different things. Maybe there's a link to a website with commentaries on Shmuel if you want to look up a Radak or whatever it is. Let's say, okay, so here you have the text, and here's Parshanim. There are different different websites that you might want to link to. Now, one of the things that you might notice that is not here, those are what we call project-based learning type of things. And at this point, I'm leaving that to other teachers. You could certainly add that. If I just do this here for a second, there are different activities that you could ask students to do besides obviously the quizzes and the message boards. You could have them upload files. So, for example, they could upload images, they could upload PowerPoints, Word documents. Online text would be, sometimes I'll ask students to summarize what was learned in the parak, and there's a place that you could grade them and leave them feedback. They really enjoy, seeing the one-on-one feedback. And, there's all different types of things that you could add on top of this. The questions are basically, they should be editable. Teacher could edit them. You want to add your own. You want to change the message board's questions, add your own message board. It's really a very easy thing to do. Just click on your add activity forum, and a teacher just adds a message board just like that. So it's really not all that complicated. Here you have a water cooler. You want to discuss things off topic. That's fine. So, in a nutshell, that's basically what we have over here. So we have here, this could be a totally online course. This could be a blended course, and that's the way I'm using it right now. And I really would appreciate if you have any feedback how this could be improved. For example, the one thing that I know right away that I would like to improve is I'm not happy with the fact that this audio button takes you only through Aleph through Chet. Let's say, for example, a student wants to see just Pasuk Zion. So I'd like to see a playlist over here where a student could go directly to Perek Zion. That's still something I have to work at. But, if you have other suggestions, something I might have overlooked, I'd really appreciate your feedback, and I look forward to hearing it. So again, thank you for taking the time to look at this video. Thank you. Have a good day.